Hello and welcome back to episode 31 of the MotoGP Career mode. Today we will be off to Portimao, a track I have struggled with ever since they brought it onto the GP calendar. Not scoring any points in Moto 3, crashing out while having a terrible race. Moto 2 qualifying quite well and ending up 12th, and yeah, I actually quite struggled with even in third person on the MotoGP bikes, so I'm a little bit underwhelmed for confidence. We're just doing a small bit of upgrades to the Moto 3s and all that, just doing a bit of housekeeping before we get into the episode. But yeah, I'm not really looking forward to Portimao, to be honest. Let's get into it. So here we are, we're unfortunately in Q1 like I predicted. This is my one and only lap coming into turn 1. Turn 1 I've struggled with so much, get it quite clean that time around, but I've struggled a lot. We come through into turn 3, Lagos. I cannot get it stopped in there. You can see sector 1 is by far my weakest. You can see him 6 point or 0.6 off at this first split. We'll see what we can do. Usually by the third split I pull a bit of time back and then lose it again in the third split. So that's usually what, or the fourth split. Through this turn 5, through to kind of Craig Jones corner, I'm pretty quick. And then as you plunge down the hill for the last 5 corners, I'm pretty slow. But halfway around the lap we are. What is the split going to say? I love this corner here, Samsung. The bike goes live, wants to spin, wants to wheelie. We're actually pulled back a tenth on Paul Espargaro, who just crashes on Q. Come through Craig Jones corner and now up into this tricky turn 10, Portimao corner, and then turn 11. I struggle with the rest of the track from here on. You can see again I've bang on the provisional pole time of this session. But from here we probably will lose time through 13, 14, 15 and the run to the line. Biggest issue so far this weekend is bike setup. In Qatar I had a kind of a decent base setup that I'd use, and I kind of could run at a decent pace and I was consistent. And same around here, I'm consistent, I can do the same pace again, which is it bodes well, but the only thing is I lack braking stability and a lot of rear traction. So up to the line it's going to be a 39, maybe a 40.3. so unfortunately we've caught up to 22nd. I think Luca Marini is the only behind us, so I'm starting to get into the habit of looking at the grid before the race to see who's on a radical tyre choice, to see if anyone will come back. So Marc Marquez, for example, perfect on Q, double softs. That should mean he's going to be nowhere and we probably will beat him. But we went for medium. Medium was the recommended solution. I was quick as all weekend on the medium tyre. 5 red lights and we are away behind Lorenzo Salvadori, the other Aprilia man, the second rider in the factory team. We actually get quite a good launch up to P18. Got run wide there by Valentino. Sat me right up mid corner, terrible start, and we've gone actually from having a good initial launch back to last. And I felt maybe if I could have got a good start and maybe into the group, and I could have maybe got pulled along. But now I'm back. I'm just going to crash up ahead. It's Alex Rins and Francesco Bagnaia. So 2 men I'd be expecting to be lost today. I wouldn't have gotten nowhere near have behind me now, so that might bode well for me. I might be able to make up a few positions like that. I'm hoping to maybe get towards the points. Ideally, if I can beat Lorenzo Salvadori and if I could beat top Aprilia, I'd be brilliant. But Aleix actually looks strong around here. As we come into Samsung corner now, we go up over the brow as we plunge down into Craig Jones corner. Got a big wheelie. So Enea Bastianini, we're on P17, so we've made a small bit of progress. Obviously, riders ahead crashing. My pace should be good enough to kind of stick with these guys. Again, once the pack doesn't get spread out, maybe I could kind of go with them, and if there's any crashes ahead, anything like that, I might be able to make my way up the field and maybe snag a point or two. But as we come to the end of lap 1 now, we have a corner to go. We're up behind Enea Bastianini. So far, not a bad opening lap for me. Like I said, my pace isn't brutal. It's just not strong enough that I can make positions up in the race like in Qatar. But we get a great run here on Bastianini. Power up to 2 for now. Just don't want to burn too much fuel. And across the line, we are actually in P15 for the moment. Will Ico Lacona beat us around the outside? Yes, he does. So far in the race, I've managed to take turn 1 clean once, so that's good. But again, look, you just see him slightly in hot there into Lagos. I wish I could get a stop better through there. There's a crash actually, and it is a Honda, a Repsol Honda, and it looks to be, it's Portugal because Marcus is in 13th. So another rider I would expect it to not have had a chance to be today behind me. So we're currently sitting in P15, which is 1 point, which isn't bad so far. Just need to think of the positives. We get right onto the curbs. They're just upsetting the bike through. Bastianini comes up me inside and he actually gives me a nice little tap into Samsung corner, and that puts us off the track, and we've actually lost a load of drive over the brow of the hill. Big wheelie, and that's really affected our run. Coming through Portimao and into turn 11. You can see the even Salvadori just in front of me as the bike drops away and lots of wheel spin. So hopefully if I manage my tyres, maybe towards the end of the race I might be able to pull myself into a bit of a battle with the end of the points, but we shall see. Let's hope for now. But at the moment we're in P17. It'll be interesting to see what my lap time is compared to the men at the front. So this time we don't get half a good drive out of the last corner. We should still get Salvadori 41-0 compared to 38-5 for Zarco. And there's contact between us and Salvadori, and we've actually taken out one of the Aprilias. So we have taken out one of our own. Fortunately it wasn't for points. We didn't take him out of the points, but still not great. We didn't really want to have that. He kind of went for a move that wasn't on. Now we're up behind Marini again. We're actually quite hot. We're going to just run him wide. The small contact, he wasn't happy with it. I'm going to use that momentum to cut underneath and get back past him. We actually out-qualified him, so I do reckon my pace is better. Bastianini has just a small half a second gap to me, which is going to be difficult to pull in. Still make mistakes really. So lap 3, and it's probably how the race was going to always end up. I think the instance with Salvadori and Marini there and stuff, I think I've just dropped back. You can see ahead of Bastianini there's a big group of riders, just like in both Qatar races. I felt like if I could have got with them, maybe I could have used a bit of fuel, a bit of power mode 3 to kind of just stick with them, and could have pulled me out of this kind of little rut I'm in that I'm having, but doesn't look to be. So 41-0 was my. I was actually Marina cuts underneath me into that final corner. Sacrifices run down. We get him back across the line just about, and we should have him still down into turn 1. Very tricky corner. It seems maybe the bike with a full tank of fuel is a bit easier into turn 1. I did make a small adjustment to the bike before the race, and it is not feeling too bad. You can see I'm up by half a second already in this lap alone in sector 1, so shows there's a good sector as Luca Mini goes for an absolute suicidal move into that corner. There was no room there, and he actually takes himself out of the race. So we have a big moment. We turn in too early there. That little moment there with Marini has upset our rhythm a small bit. Now it's Petrucci ahead of us, so we're going to just have to tuck in behind him and see can we get him. Just once again we're being upset here for nothing really. Like I was saying, if I could have got away and had a clean race, my pace would have been maybe just good enough for some points with a few crashers, but unfortunately I've been involved in too many other incidences, and see as Petrucci gets it spinning on the move down into turn 12. Goes right out using all that curb. So he's already starting to pull away from me. I've just noticed that Paolo Spagaro is into P19. He's behind Salvadori. He's only a second behind me, and there doesn't seem to be much of a gap between them, which means we're probably going to get caught by the second of the Honda men, which will put us down into P18, which isn't great. So if we maybe if we, I don't know if we really have any more pace. Like I could probably try and push a bit harder, but I'd probably crash, and that's not really what we want to do. Petrucci taking a very unconventional line down into turn 1, doing a bit of a Scandinavian flick to keep the bike level. But it worked because he's kept a big gap over me again. Just for some reason I don't have any front end bite on the brakes. It's quite weird. It's just that corner really. And now Espargaro has passed Lorenzo Salvadori, and he is pretty much a second behind. So maybe if he slides past us, we can tuck in behind him and go with him. That could be the plan. I'm not going to be able to hold him behind me. He was in the midfield at when he crashed, so I reckon his pace is probably good enough to be in the 30s. With a nice wheelie again over the brow of the hill. Dropped down through one of the best corners in the world, Craig Jones corners. The bike completely G's out. Small mistake for me. I'm going to be wide there. That's surely going to leave Pol Espargaro through. We run wide again into turn 3. I'm expecting him any second now. And I'm wide again here. Surely, there he goes. Oh, very aggressive move from the Spaniard. So it's a matter of time really before he gets me. I made so many mistakes. And another one there. On lap 7 now. And yeah, typically unexpiring race here. Look again, just massive off track. I'm gonna just make sure he gets through this time. I'm more focusing on not crashing into him, so I'm just gonna follow him around now and see can he pull me up to the back of. It's actually his teammate. So Bastianini in front has passed his teammate. So like I mentioned at the start, Marquez on double softs, so he really should drop back to us like I said at the start. And it looks like it's happening because he is in P15 at the moment. I've gone faster in the race, believe it or not, than I did in qualifying on soft. So on a worn set of mediums, I've managed to pull out a 39.8, which I didn't manage all weekend getting into 39. So I've maybe, a bit like Qatar 1 in the race, I've looked like I've kind of found a few bits. Unfortunately, we won't get a Portimao 2 because I believe, we haven't, the race obviously isn't over yet, we have a few laps left, and if we could maybe, Marquez comes, we look like we're probably going to get Marquez because Pole has really took a good chunk of time out of him, and if his tyres are going off we should be able to get him. But like I was saying, maybe if we had a Portimao 2, I feel I might just be able to, if I could qualify slightly better, maybe get away with the pack like I mentioned, I could score the odd point, which would be quite nice. Now it looks like Pol Espargaro is getting held up and he's managed to get a good run out of turn 4. And he just powered past them, and I'm right now next to Marquez. In slightly hot again, almost tagging back. You can see his rear tyre on the right is destroyed. I presume it's the same all the way around. If you told me before the race that I'd be backing out Marquez, I would have been over the moon. Unfortunately, it's for no point. We slide up the inside of him into Samsung, and that should be Marquez. You can see already just out of the corner, he's no grip. We get a massive wheelie. That really unsettles the bike down into Craig Jones' corner, into his lovely Portimao, and then into 11. So we've about a lap and a half remaining. It's unlikely we'll catch Pole. Really the only way we're going to get points now if someone comes off. And yeah, that's probably not going to happen. We've seen a few riders crash, but late in the race you never know, there might be, but that's the only way I'm going to get points today. So it looks like our 100% point scoring record of 2 races only will come to an end today, unless someone behind us, and even Luca Mini has just passed him, and Luca's already had a crash and he's at shocking pace really. So final lap time, let's see what we can do lap time wise. In the final lap, will we take some time out of pole or will we go backwards? Because Luca Mini isn't that far back actually, he's only about a second back. Actually kind of got stopped into Gallo, or turn 4 that time, Galp I think it is, or Lagos I think turn 4 is. But we're up by a hell of a time at the moment. We actually are very, very deep in there, kind of drawn in, but we have a massive bit of time under, and this is the fastest lap all weekend that the time is showing. So we're up on our fastest lap by a serious amount. We're on for 39.4, 39.3, which would have put us into Q1 like that's, or Q2 even. That's how much pace we're finding, and we're on worn mediums. which is we actually got our first track limits on. We have a huge moment coming out of Jones corner. Late great Craig Jones, of course. But with a handful of corners left, we actually are taking ever so slightly time out of Paul Espargaro, who's catching Bastianini, but we will not have enough time. I'm interested to know what the lap will be when we come across the line and compared to what everyone else has done in the race. So once again, this team Aprilia, My World Aprilia, is a project. It's a building project. So we're building towards something. So every race is a bit of a learning curve, a bit of an experiment. We're up by 0.4. It's going to be 39.3. So that is a crazy good lap time for me. Zarco wins with a 38.5. So we're about 0.8 off the fastest lap, which is quite good. So we're actually quicker than most around us. We're quicker than Bastianini. It was probably still wasn't great. We probably would have struggled even with that, but we were quicker than a good few. Quicker than Marquez on softs. Probably matched Salvadori, so we're not as good as I hope, but better is what we can say. So we probably dropped now to probably 15th, 16th. So we've actually dropped behind Valentino Rossi and Marc Marquez. Very, very interesting to see the championship that tight at the bottom. Now the constructors, 22 points over the bottom, unfortunately, with only 22 points. So our Ute riders got a P19 and a P17. So Miguel Hernandez and Louis Robbie struggling and Miguel doing quite well. But I'm going to leave this episode here for today. I hope you'd have enjoyed. Next up, it is the holy ground of Jerez, where I got my first podium. Or sorry, I didn't. I got my best race result in Moto 3 at the start of the season. I got strong in Moto 2, and hopefully this will be now where I can start to piece it together for GP. It's one of my favourite tracks in the world. I'm very, very strong in there in third person. Will that translate to first person? We'll have to wait and find out. But thank you all for watching. If you'd like to, please like and subscribe, and I should have more content up in the next day or two. Thanks again. Bye bye.